Hello.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi, Tiffany.
Yes. Is
Hi,
this?
Tiffany. I'm Elizabeth.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Do you have video or I'm just seeing a picture?
Let's see. Well, I may have to jump out and jump back in. I don't know why that is.
Well, I'm here, so
Okay, let's see. Let me see if I can jump out and jump right back in.
Hello.
hello, Chip.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Elizabeth. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Elizabeth. Are you the moderator?
I am.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Are you?
Elizabeth, can you invite me again?
I can.
Okay, I'm
Um,
going to jump out.
yeah. Let's see.
Okay. Not sure why my video isn't working.
Hello.
Okay. I think I got everybody. Oh, we have a new Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hello. Hi.
I'm Elizabeth. See,
Nice
do
to
you
meet
have video going?
I think so.
Oh, yes, I can see you now. Okay. And we lost Tiffany. We're gonna give everybody a minute here because I invited several people, but there's only a few of us. Okay. I had to turn off the main page for a second because they kept talking in my ears, and I'm like, I can't concentrate. Um, oh, we have a new person. Carol, are you there? I see your picture, Carol, but I don't hear you or see you. Maybe she's not there. Um, let's see. You should, if you can go ahead and go to the Google Toolbox. It's on the left-hand side. It looks kind of like a lunchbox to me. It has a red handle on it. And you can turn on the lower third, which is this part here where it says your name. And that's a lot easier, so that way everybody knows who everybody is. And if you need help with that, just let me know. And I also turned on, I'm sorry, go ahead. Somebody sounded like they had a question. Uh-oh. Somebody talk because I think, are y'all there?
Hi, this is Yana. I just jumped in.
Hi, Yana. I'm Elizabeth. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
All right. Chip's got his lower third. Karen's got hers. So, Yana, we're just turning on our lower third, which you do that with the Google. It's called the Hangout Toolbox, and it has a little
Yep.
red handle,
Yep.
and that way it says your name. It's not required, but it makes life easier. So why don't we give a quick little introduction about from each of you, you know, where you are in the world and what you teach. And I'll turn on this. lights. That always helps. Oh, you can probably see me a little bit better now. So I'll start and get this ball rolling. I'm Elizabeth Gould, and I teach kindergarten in Garden Grove, California, which is Southern California. This is my first year teaching kinder. I taught second grade for 6 years prior to that. So it's wonderful. And how about the rest of you guys? Just jump in.
I'm Yana Bauer. I'm a acting vice principal in Manitoulin Secondary School in Northern Ontario, Canada, and I'm planning to return to teaching English next year, so I'm looking forward to that, and definitely wanting to integrate tech. Been frustrated this year because I've got all these great ideas of what I want to do with students, and I don't have a classroom, so.
I'm Chip Chase. I'm in Washington, D.C., the Director of Library and Technology at a charter school here. And I was the one who started the topic just because we don't have a one-to-one program. And as a technology integration person in charge of the school, I'm really interested in seeing how we can do the best with what we can and see what other people are doing, because we're trying to do a lot more than what we are. So
I'll jump in. I'm Karen, and I live in Southern California. I actually teach at a camp that has a school. So I teach grades 4 through 6. It's really small. We have a couple iPads in our classroom, so it's not one-to-one, and I'm interested in what I can do to make that as worthwhile as possible.
I'm Tiffany Freeman. I'm a former instructional technologist, but I'm currently a 4th grade English and reading and social studies teacher. So I moved to a different district that doesn't have as much technology as I'm used to having, so I'm just trying to figure it all out and figure out how I can make use of my 4 ancient PCs in my classroom.
Isn't that sad when you have all these things and then you move and then you go, oh gosh, I didn't realize how good I had it.
Yes, I'm like, where are the iPad carts? And there's one laptop cart that's shared, amongst everyone in the whole school, and a smart board that no one knows how to use because I'm coming from Promethean. So I'm just trying to figure out, how to make the little that we have work.
Okay, you guys keep talking. I found somebody didn't get invited that's supposed to be, so I'm finding them. I think my friend on the end, I don't know your name. We have the green sweater on. Oh, there we go.
Maybe?
Oh, Carol.
Let's see. I don't think we can hear you. If you go to the top of your page, there should be some little options that pop up where you can mute your microphone, turn your camera off, and you maybe have one of those set. But you can also type into the chat box on the right-hand side. If you click on the left-hand side, there's a little blue area there, and it will open the chat window to the right.
I'm having major trouble.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Well, maybe it works better without it. Hi, I'm Carol. I teach outside of Chicago. I have a 4th grade gifted bilingual classroom, and we are just getting all this new technology, and we have no idea how to use any of it, including the teachers. So I went to an Edcamp Chicago this fall, and I'm getting 25 laptops for my classroom, hopefully by February, and I just want to learn how to do better things with my class. And I'm having trouble even using this Chromebook today because I'm not familiar with it.
Well, I've never used one myself in my life, so hey, you're doing better than I would, so that's good.
I've got like the Hangout toolbox on the right-hand side, but I don't know how to make it actually work.
Okay, well let's teach you that real fast. It's pretty easy.
Okay.
You should be able to. If you have the Hangout, okay, do you see it says lower third?
No, it says comment tracker.
Okay, so go to the it should say at the top Hangout toolbox, And
Yeah.
then the next has some little icons. There's one that's circle with a little person.
Ah.
Click on that, fill it in, and then you have to click the button to make it go on.
And I had to mirror mine because otherwise everything comes up backwards.
We see it straight, so don't worry about that. Mine's
Right.
backwards to me. No biggie. All right. So I didn't pick this topic, come up with it, but I jumped on board when I saw it come up because this is a big thing that I've done, and personally for myself. When I taught second grade at my old school, I just finished my master's degree in educational technology, and we had no Wi-Fi, we had no mobile devices, and it is totally possible. That's my first thing. It's totally possible to do a lot of really great things with really limited technology. So, Chip, what have you kind of experienced or seen or are hoping to?
Well, I'm kind of approaching it from both the teacher perspective, but also thinking of it as an integrated technology person, thinking about the big picture. A lot of the complaints I get from teachers is that the shared resources, we have 3 labs and laptop carts, but it's hard to count on them all the time. So a lot of teachers are saying they don't even want to plan for technology if they're not even going to have access to the technology or not have the kind of access that they want. So thinking about it in terms of just that big picture of what do we do and how do we use technology effectively when people can't rely on it, which I think might be sort of an infrastructure issue that I feel like we've been addressing a lot of the time, but then there's also just the teachers don't know what to do, and PD is a big concern. We haven't done enough. So I think those are kind of the 2 angles I'm coming from of what do we do with what we have and how do we get teachers to buy into it, I think are 2 of my big pressing.
Yeah. I agree.
One thing that can affect teacher buy-in is having just a few teachers on each campus. I'm not sure how large your territory is or how many schools, but if you have, maybe 1 teacher per grade or 1 teacher per school that's particularly tech savvy, and have them show off the things that they're doing in their classroom. Some of the schools in the district where I was before did something called a Wow Wednesday, where they shared a little tech tool or how they were using it in their classroom. The executive director of schools suggested that we have like an appy hour where you showed an app and how you would use that app. And so if the PD is coming from teachers or somebody that has been in that role recently, most of the time teachers will have more of a buy-in.
I worry, though, that in taking that approach, you end up with people being wowed, but not really having confidence to try it themselves. And really, for professional development and for classroom confidence, you need to have time to play, which there needs to be someone to guide, someone to, kind of help you overcome stumbling blocks, like turning on the Google the bottom third or whatever, right? Like, yeah. And so we've had PD where people do that. They show, and they seem so confident and so at ease with the tools, and everybody in the room just walks out feeling like, I couldn't do that. I don't have those skills.
Well, that was really my role as the instructional technologist, and I don't know if your district has instructional technologists, but I didn't just show a tool or a resource to teachers and then just throw them to the wolves. I said, I set up appointments, and when you're ready to use this tool, I'll be there the first time you use it. I'll be there the second time you use it, and it was kind of a gradual release so that, you're comfortable before you're having to stand up in front of students. And, we practiced without students during their planning periods several times before they would use that tool with students. And then once they brought the students in, I was there as a coach on the side in case they ran into any issues so that, that confidence would be there.
I wonder, is anybody, how do you guys feel about just, because are kids tech savvy enough to take the lead?
My kids have completely taken over. I started Genius Hour 3 weeks ago, right before break, and they're bringing in their own devices, which we have now found out that our school Wi-Fi won't allow them to bring them in. We have a lap cart of 16 laptops that I can check out, but the same issues that you never know if they'll be there or what will work. So we're trying everything. And my class, if I give them an inch, they take miles and miles. They just keep going and going and going. So they're actually going home and trying things and then bringing them back to the classroom. They're 9 and 10-year-olds who, if you give them a smartphone, I think they could probably crack some codes in the Pentagon if you let them, because they're born knowing these things. And here I'm a 40-year-old teacher who's completely tech phobic going, I have to learn this because otherwise I'm obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a careful balance though too, because you know, while the kids, they can figure out a lot of things, we do need to be teaching them the specifics of how to effectively use them, which I don't think they just completely figure out on their own. You know, I was helping my cousin. I think it was right at Thanksgiving, and it was so funny. She goes to Berkeley, okay? She's a smart kid, and she had this little questionnaire that she wanted, like, the whole family to do. And I said, well, why don't you just put it, it was written out on just a Google Doc. I said, well, why don't you just put it on a Google form real fast? And she's like, all right. She didn't know what I was talking about, and I showed her how to do it. She had no idea. And so that told me something. That was really interesting to say, okay, well, she's, you know, a very smart kid. She's street smart, book smart, goes to Berkeley, but she doesn't know this really quick basic thing. And she's like, in the end, finally, she said, oh, wow, that was better.
Mm-hmm. And she'll use it again when she needs to, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, most of the time they're savvy, but they don't know how to use them for productivity uses. You know, they know how to play games, and they know how to use social media, but not necessarily for productive uses.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's separate from school completely. They know how to do all the things that they want to do, but making that shift to I can do this, but I can do this at school, I think that's on the students to make that leap, and also to get the teachers too, and administrators have to say, yes, we can do these things if we let them and if we make a way to do it. But I think because teachers are so scared to do it and they don't know themselves how to bring it in, I think that's part of the missing piece too that we're struggling with.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you give the students an appropriate task and say, here are the tools you can use, and let them choose which of those tools to use, most of the times they will wow you with what they'll come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Is they'll learn to use the tool for the task rather than learning how to use the tool and then saying, okay, let's figure out what tasks we can do with these tools.
So I'm hearing Chip and Tiffany saying, like, we can give them choice, so differentiate, right? And so regardless of how many devices there are in the room, and kids are bringing their own, and if we give them the right challenge and the right task, and give them choice but limits as well on how, and then ask them and then assess it commonly so that they're all being assessed the same way in terms of what they're demonstrating. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm. The technology does not drive the curriculum. It's important that the curriculum always drives what technology is used and when.
That's very true. Technology is just a tool. You know, teaching kindergartners, I have Wi-Fi this year, and I have my personal iPad and then one from school, and that's it basically. Really, that's it. And you know, and I love technology, and I think it's really fun, and it's, you know, you can do so many great things. But I have to remind myself, okay, they're 5 years old, and they really need time using, you know, all kinds of things, and not just technology. They need to use all of their senses, and so, you know, and that's kind of needs to be able to transfer to all of the levels.
Right.
I think the differentiation piece is an important part. So using tools for technology, but also doing the same kind of curricular assignment, where some are using technology and some are not, I think it's an interesting way to go about it. But my concern about that is some students who are naturally inclined and who have the technology are more inclined to do more with technology and grow a lot better with their skill set, whereas students who, on the other side of the digital divide, who don't have their own devices, who don't come with their iPads to school and things like that, they can get left behind. And so that's one of my worries, is that, with that differentiation, the students who are good with technology get better, and the students who are bad go to Berkeley and they can't make a Google form. Things like that. So I think that's a concern of mine.
I agree. I mean, I teach it's in a really interesting area where, Southern California, by and large, is fairly affluent, and the neighborhood where I'm at is not. So I have a big. Can you still see my video?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see it for myself. And there's a wide range in my school and in my classroom, and I'm already seeing that. I started noticing it more before Christmas. Okay, when it's the time for them to choose, those kids that have iPads at home are the first ones that want to do it at school. Kids that don't have iPads at home, they don't really know what it is. They're like, how to do it so much, and so they don't pick that. So the good ones are getting better, and the ones that don't have it, so I need to be, as the teacher, watching out and making sure that, I take a few minutes to work with those kids that don't have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think rubrics, having good rubrics will help with that, saying these are the things that you need to incorporate, and, here are some resources you can use to learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I also buddy up somebody.
Go ahead.
If I have someone who's very tech savvy with someone who isn't, I have some students who haven't even used a Word document before coming to 4th grade. All they've ever done is played online games, even educational online games. So I'll have some of my tech savvies, but I'll buddy up with some of my kids who are technophobes. And that's really made a difference, so that the kids who are so afraid, they're afraid to touch a button, they're afraid to do anything. Now they're much more willing to work with their tech buddy and try these new things. And they've come a lot farther because they don't have to come to me. They don't have to ask the teacher for help constantly. They can talk to their friend who's just a peer, and I think it's less scary for them to admit they don't understand something that way too.
I think part of my questioning too is, everybody is saying that everything is going to eventually be one-to-one, and that's what we're moving towards and things like that. And I'm just wondering, in the meantime, if that's really where we're going, which I think would be great. I'd love to teach in a one-to-one school, but what do we do? What do the schools who don't have that program, who have maybe still 2 computers in the classroom, who have labs, what do we do in the meantime, I think is my
just some more tangible ideas, takeaway kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, coming from I have Wi-Fi, but it's still really limited in the devices. We don't even have a computer lab at all. One thing that I have done, a big thing, is I have a classroom Twitter account that I use a lot to connect my class with other classrooms and opportunities like that. So without multiple devices, it's still rather teacher-centered. However, you're still able to open up the walls of your classroom and really connect with others. And I think that's the most important thing. If I can get my students to connect with people outside of where we are physically, then I feel like I've succeeded. My class has participated in several global learning projects, which I think is huge. You can, if you have a few devices and the kids are, have the skills, like I wouldn't be doing this in kindergarten, but it worked in 2nd grade, where we had we read a book, and then there was 2 other classes that were involved in 2nd grade, and we shared through using Edmodo, and kind of responded to the story as we went along, and we're reading it at the same time, and that was really awesome.
I think some of the other things that you can do is make sure that there's a good check-in, check-out process for the technology that you do have. so that teachers will know when it's available and what's available. Also, professional development is huge because teachers won't take the risk if they don't feel like, they are savvy or familiar enough with the tool. And one of the ways, because I was the only instructional technologist for a very long time in the district where I was, and I had 9 school campuses plus other campuses that I was responsible for. So we used a resource called Atomic Learning, and it's just in time, it's real time technology professional development for teachers, and they can like literally go to Atomic Learning and type in how do I make a table in Microsoft Word, and it gives them a really quick video succinct answer that's step by step and shows them exactly how to use it. YouTube is another great resource. What I found though is if teachers have to do too much of the legwork, they are already so overwhelmed with the other tasks that they have to do, they're not going to do a Google search and figure out how to do the little task. They just rather skip it and not use the technology and just do it by hand because they'd be done before they find what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Does your school ever incentivize it or make some kind of demands or stipulations that teachers have to learn Tech PD? Because I think for some who are naturally inclined, they do, but we haven't had any measures where this is what you need to learn and you have to learn one new skill. Has anyone ever come up with that?
Well, before I left the district, that's what I was working on. Working on integrating kind of a mix between the SAMR model and I think it's University of Florida's Technology Integration Matrix, so that they could see exactly where they were on different levels of technology integration versus where they want to go. And, just creating some goals, saying, okay, these are my personal goals, and let's figure out a plan to help you get there. And saying what I like about the technology integration matrix, and I'll try to share out the link on Twitter later.
Is it Arizona? I think it was Arizona.
Arizona has a version of it also.
Okay.
But it's one of the schools in Florida that had the original one, but they have videos that show what that technology integration looks like at each level. And they can see it, for the grade level they are, for it, it's a really cool tool. And so they can say, yes, I want to do that by the end of the year. These are the tools that I want to learn to use, and really coming up with a plan to do that. And so I was trying to be more of a facilitator instead of being, okay, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to learn. But like I said, we have lots more technology in that district. Every teacher had a laptop. We just replaced all of the old Dell laptops with brand new MacBook Pros, and there were at least 3 iPad carts or iPod carts for every school. The high school had iPad carts. Most of the school had laptop carts, and so we're talking about a huge, technology resource pool to pull from. Every classroom had an interactive whiteboard where, like I said, now I've come to a school where I'm the teacher in the classroom, and I feel very tech poor because I have a smart board coming from a Promethean world, and there were no teacher laptops, so I got rid of my old MacBook Pro and got a MacBook Air so that I could take my laptop back and forth to school every day, and I'm bringing my iPad for Wi-Fi because there's no Wi-Fi in my part of the building. And so just trying to figure out how to utilize what I know are best practices when it comes to technology in a very tech-poor environment where I have 4 very, very old computers, like when they're on, you can't teach because they're so loud, type of environment, which is one of the reasons I was really interested in this session, is trying to figure out how to combat some of those issues also.
It sounds like a lot of it might be sort of a school culture issue, and I think that's part of the stuff that I'm struggling with is, should we be pushing for a one-to-one program and really try and make it work, or should we just make do with what we have? I mean, I'm wondering, are we ever going to get the kind of technology integration that we want if the school doesn't really double down and commit to technology? I think that's one of my main wonderings about it.
Okay, I'm hearing a big thing from you, but I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I think it has to start with the administration. If your administrator is not completely on board, you're going to be struggling until that administrator leaves, basically, and that's so sad. But I have totally been there. I know what that's like. That was kind of the big struggle at my old school, because the administration was not completely committed and on board. And once that happens, and once you have somebody at the top really modeling what they want to be used, you know, that principal or superintendent, what have you, is on Twitter and is carrying around their iPad and is really, you know, suggesting different things like, hey, you know, try it this way, or, you know, it has to be, I think, a bit of a mix between, okay, we're doing online plan books, you have to do that, no choice, or, you know, some of it's no choice and some of it, you know, is gentle suggestions. If it's, you know, completely with an iron fist, you're going to have people just rebel and that won't work. But if you only give you know, a little gentle nudge, you know, there's people that are going to never ever bite. So it's tough. It's going to take time.
I definitely heard when you said culture, a big thing. There's definitely a difference in the culture of the school district I was in before and the school district I'm in now. And the other thing that you said that really resonated was modeling. Teachers have to see what's expected of them modeled. And they have to know that they are free to take risks and they're not going to be penalized if there's failure, because anytime you're introducing something new with technology, there's always going to be huge failures. But if we look at failure as first attempt in learning and not, oh, you're terrible and don't do this again, you know, teachers will be, you know, more willing to take risks. And definitely with the modeling, they need to see their administrators using it. It needs to be a huge culture thing. But as far as whether you need to go one-to-one, that's something that I would do with a pilot. I would try it with 1 or 2 classrooms of teachers that are really willing to, you know, take that chance. And instead of making a huge investment and say, okay, we're going to do this district-wide, see how it goes in a few classrooms or one classroom, get an iPad card and say, hey, we're going to make this resource available. And, you know, instead of making a huge investment and then it sit there and it not be used. Because a lot of times districts will go in and they'll buy lots of technology and make these huge investments, and then when it's underutilized because of lack of PD or lack of time or more teacher demands, then they are disappointed and they've spent lots of money, and by the time people actually want to start using it, the technology is out of date.
I think that's another problem too, how quickly our technology becomes obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
And our district currently, we're the second largest district in the state of Illinois, so we have 46 elementary schools, a bunch of middle schools and high schools. So when we buy, it's a giant financial strain on the district. And they just went through all of our desktops and took all of our hard drives away because we're trying to get more advanced. We're trying to be able to have Windows 8 so that we can, you know, be ready for all the fun testing coming our way as well. Mm-hmm. I think their motivation is more about the tests coming than it is actually about advancing our technology. But we do have a group of schools, we're the transformation schools, because we haven't made AYP for 5 years now. So we have had access to different grants, and they are trying to pilot. I did get the one-to-one. I did get the set of laptops that are coming, but without the right PD, like you said, I'm really happy that they're trying these things and they're looking for teachers who do want to move forward. But until they put all the pieces together, it just becomes a really fancy tool that you have in your classroom. And I don't want it to be that. I really want to be able to utilize this to the best of everything for my students, not just for 20 minutes a day or not just for remediation hour, but for everything that we do. And granted, I don't want them to have their laptops out the entire time we're in class, because that's not the key either. But when we are publishing and writing, we have our laptops. When we are doing certain groupings in math class, well, this group can be working on a different skill using their laptops. The problem is, though, that until we have enough people buying in and we're sharing all that information. I mean, that's why I think joining Twitter and having a PLN has really changed my way of thinking about education in general, but definitely about the tech piece. So I think having a strong PLN and really finding people who are out there doing it and that are willing to show you the way, because there are so many people who are way more advanced than my district or me personally, even within my district, that if I don't reach out to those people who know what they're doing already, how am I ever going to learn this on my own when my district isn't really supporting it in professional development? They're giving us the tools now, but here, figure it out on your own. Well,
Okay.
that isn't helping. So we need someone like you, Tiffany. You want to come to Elgin and
Yeah, Tiffany sounds great.
just give us, some startup points? But
I
that's
think
what we need.
Okay, I have to jump in here because our time is basically up, and I want you guys to be able to do session 2 also. So I have to kind of cut you off, but this has been such a great conversation. Make sure, let's see, I know it will show up on the Google Plus page or the link for this and everything. So find each other on Twitter. I'm at Elizabeth Gold, and Chip Chase. I just tried to find you on Twitter, and I did, and then that page freaked out. So I would love to chat more. You all were wonderful, had great ideas to share. Thank you so much. And look for that link for the form to fill out for session 2. I think David's going to put that up in any second now.
Great. Well, thank you.
All good?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.